name's Kelly Alexa, and I work in a social media agency right now, New Media Strategies. And the way that I got involved in this whole social media space actually kind of happened by accident, because I used to always work in a sales role for corporate organizations. And in October 2008, the company I was working for went bankrupt. So suddenly for 14 months, I was out of a job, and I kind of fell into, I'd already been blogging, but I fell into more social media activity to try to network for a job, right, that wasn't happening. But after I dove into Twitter and got engaged more with some great individuals, I just really saw that it was going to be an amazing fit for myself, obviously, but also for business in general. Like, I just saw the fit, how it was going to be a change. And basically one thing happened after another. I was part of the Ford Fiesta movement, and then joined NMS November of last year. And now I get up every day and I do the work that I love. I'm blogging, I'm tweeting, I'm on Facebook. I help big brands and small businesses and also individuals with kind of how to use this space for their benefit, and I love it. It's so funny, and I say, oh gosh, because I can't speak strongly enough to using video to either get your message out there or increase viewers or visits to your website. I've been blogging for probably, I think about a year, maybe a year and a half, and then something told me, I think I'd seen another blogger do a vlog or a video blog, and I'm like, I really should be doing this, because I think you can probably tell I have a lot to say. So I went out and bought a camcorder and started shooting vlogs without practicing, just putting the camera up and shooting the vlogs and talking about my fitness passion. My website traffic quadrupled in 4 weeks. So suddenly, all of a sudden, I had this, that's repetitive, sorry. I had this audience that I didn't even know of. I had my blog audience, and then I had a YouTube audience, and then people on Twitter were discovering my videos. And really, I mean, that's how the Ford Fiesta movement came about. That's how brands are finding me, a lot of them in the fitness space, because they'll see my videos and say, can you help me vlog? Can you vlog for my company? Can you do this? It's just, it's such an engaging medium that I just can't recommend it enough. Not to mention, especially if you're constantly updating it, it's just constantly fresh content for somebody to consume. Sleep less, consume more caffeine. It really is. It's social media in general, or blogging and vlogging, it's absolutely a time commitment. And even when you love it, like I do, I find it's a challenge to fit it into your work, to fit it into travel. Right now, what I'm looking at doing, in fact, is, because I travel so much, bringing my regular equipment that I use to shoot my vlogs and then trying to use a hotel high-speed internet connection to upload, it's not working. So now I'm looking into, what solution's going to work for me where I can shoot my vlogs on the road and upload them, because on a trip like this, for example, I'm gone for 4 days. So that's 4 days that my audience isn't getting this rambling Kelly vlog, but they do. They're like, where's the content? Where's your vlog? This is what I count on. It's my motivation, or what have you. So the time that it requires is significant, but if you love it enough and you get that return, which is interaction and people that find you and become friends or business partners, it's invaluable. So you just have to make the time. And I know that's not a good answer, but. Honestly, that's probably the number one question that I get asked. And the only thing I can say is I don't use software. I don't try to go out and get followers. I just talk a lot, probably. And when I got on Twitter and I understood how the conversations happened, I just made a commitment that I'm going to talk to whoever I can. I'm not going to, I didn't have an agenda. I didn't get on Twitter and say, I'm only going to talk to the people that have a lot of followers that can help me. I'm only going to talk to people that are in marketing or advertising, or I'm only going to talk to people that are in fitness. I talk to anybody. So when I'm on and I'm engaging, if you talk to me and you have 1 follower, I'm going to talk to you. If you talk to me and you have 700,000 followers, I'm going to talk to you. And the feedback that I get is, Kelly Alexa is always engaging, and she talks to anybody, and she's just herself. So I'm not always looking to promote myself. I'm just there to talk, and I'm sure, like you could tell, I do the talking thing pretty well, so that's the only tip that I can give, is just being yourself and talking to everybody. Definitely. Small businesses, I speak to this in my book that I'm publishing soon, not to pimp it out or anything, but I think small businesses honestly can probably profit the most from social, because really the playing field has been leveled. You don't need a huge budget to get a camera, to get a camcorder, to get a flip cam, and go out there and interact with your potential audience to find out what people are talking about. You know, the biggest suggestions I can give to small businesses are get started. Don't worry. You definitely want to think about what you want to accomplish. Do we want to find out what our competition is doing? Do we want to get people talking about our product? Figure out what you want to do first, but either way, just get out there and don't only talk about your business, because people connect with people, and most of the business deals that I've done and the meetings that I've confirmed based on interacting on Twitter, a lot of that happened because we were talking about a completely other topic, outside topic, other than the business at hand. So we might be talking about coffee or working out, and it turns out that we end up doing business over, you know, printing services. But people connect with people, so just avoid that mistake of going into business, if you're a small business, and only talking about your business, only looking for people that might be your customer. Just go there to interact and engage with people, and inevitably the business is going to happen, I believe. Asking questions. And we were just discussing that today in one of the sessions, but on whether you have a personal blog that's like mine, just for fitness, or you have a professional blog for your small business or your large organization, asking questions, it's almost like people want to know that you want to hear from them. So if you end a post, and you'll see a lot of bloggers do this, they'll have it in bold. I do this on my blog. Question of the day. Specifically, I'm asking you a question, you know, how do you feel about running in shoes versus barefoot? Or, you know, how do you feel about this latest article on, you know, CNN about this or that? If you ask a question, people are going to respond, but you also have to remember, with blogs, 99% of your audience is lurking. They're not going to respond. So it takes a lot to kind of pull them out and say, come on, you know, share yourself with the rest of the world. But once they start commenting, they'll usually continue to do so. Yeah, the number one fear that I hear, and this is from an individual, from a large Fortune 500 brand, or kind of somewhere in the middle. What do I do if I hear bad stuff about me? You know, how do I deal with that? What if I have a blog and people leave bad comments on my blog, like, you know, your card didn't work, or this service didn't work? And I just say, take yourself out of the social media space, because any negative comment is an opportunity. You are going to hear negativity. It's an opportunity for you to kind of address it, not avoid it. That's kind of the number one mistake that I would say small businesses or large organizations do, is to just ignore it. People just want to be heard. I think any of us, when we're complaining about something, we just want to know that somebody gives a darn and is going to turn around and go, okay, I'm really sorry, but let me help you. So frankly, I think that having that complaint out there in the public forum where other people can see it, and the fact that you as a brand or a small business is going to respond to it and act like you care, and maybe admit, wow, I screwed up, I'm really sorry, you know, sorry about your dinner the other night, can I have you come back in? And they see the sincerity and they see that you care, that's huge. You know, you can't buy that kind of advertising. I think it's funny, because when you talk to a lot of, you know, thought leaders in social, they're usually split, whether some people say, you know, you can't talk about ROI or you can. At the end of the day, most of what a company or an individual is looking to accomplish is inevitably going to be tied to sales numbers. So that's always going to be considered. You know, if you spend a lot of money in this space, and at the end of, you know, say a year, you don't have any increase in sales or exposure, it's understandable. You need to rethink what you're doing. I personally tend to think that your ROI should be measured as far as engaging, and that's a word that's very like broad and general. But realistically, if you're out there and you start reacting to, negativity. You start engaging with people that you haven't talked to before. You start building brand awareness. You start building relationships, and people are talking about your brand and learning about your services or your products. That's invaluable. How do you put a measure on that? If you're actually doing your job, which is getting out there and making those conversations happen, I think you're succeeding. And as long as you keep doing it and keep growing the conversations and building those relationships and not focusing on kind of a short-term campaign and like, what did we get out of this? I think you succeed. That's my opinion. I don't necessarily say that that's the answer. Everybody's going to have their own opinion and their own, and people can back it up with facts, but I firmly believe that getting the conversation going, that's invaluable. It depends. It's going to look different. One of the things that we were talking about today that I hear when I meet with people is, you really can't go out and create a viral video. And that's what some small businesses, sometimes large businesses, are doing. We need to get on Facebook, we need to create a viral video. Creating buzz is more something that's going to happen as an afterthought to something that's creative or inspiring. You can't necessarily make buzz happen. But if you're sincere, and you have a good product, you have a good service, and you have good intentions, and you're connecting with the right people in that niche space, buzz is going to happen on its own. I hate to say that you can automatically create buzz, because it's going to take a lot of time and effort to create conversations, and those conversations are really what drives the buzz. But at the end of the day, you have to have something that's worth talking about. So the best idea is to not have a myopic mind approach and say, we've got to get out here, we've got to get people buzzing about my brand now. You absolutely can make it happen, but you've got to be willing to put the time in to develop the conversations and kind of let it take a life of its own. And let those conversations, it might take a couple of months, it might take a couple of weeks, but that happens on its own. It's not something you can control. The book is about social media for business, if that helps you. And it's not about, a how-to. It's not like a Twitter 101 or Facebook or blogging. It's more about a why-to. How social media has changed my life and my career, just as one person, how I use the different spaces and how I use them effectively, and how we talk to brands, from an agency perspective. It probably, we think, from what my agent tells me, I'm new to this book game, first quarter of next year. Great. So very excited about it.